But he would never, ever, ever say anything like that. And frankly, most YouTubers would not, because that would be just like, I just didn't even know if I said it right, and I'm terrified of getting canceled. Let's keep watching, because so far, Pearl, point one.
Well, you're stupid for not agreeing with me.
So overall, I like Pearl. Hi everyone, welcome back to Couples in the Ring. I keep still wanting to say glass up, and I haven't done glass up in like years, but it just sounds better. It's like,
why does it sound better? Our name is good.
But hey everyone, welcome back to Glass Up. Hey everyone, welcome back to Couples in the Ring. No, you know I'm right.
Yeah, when you say it like that. But
say it. When I just say it, you mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I still prefer our name, but that's fine.
No,
Glass Up was your baby.
I like the name better, but
okay, well, good. We're on the same page. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 4 of Couples in the Ring Reincarnation Edition. That's what I'm calling it now. Today, we are going to react. Actually, this is more Karlee's idea, so I'm going to kind of let you explain what we're going to react to today. Maybe if you want to give like a little bit of background, you can.
Well, I'm sure they could read the title.
True.
But I do want to address something first before we get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted a little like TikTok clip thingy, like a short from the last podcast, and I got a lot of comments about saying like someone basically commented saying, this is Kappa, by the way, sorry, he needs to be in here with us. They basically were saying like, oh, you're dissing God, like unfollow. And I'm here to clarify right now. For one, I'm a Christian. Like we go to...
Wait, so I'm confused because I don't know.
Because...
why would they have thought you were saying something like dissing God?
Because I was saying that, saying that me having infertility is not like God's plan, or doesn't mean I'm not supposed to be a mother. And it's not God's timing, because like it's not fair to treat infertility like that, but not treat every other disease like that, basically.
Right. No, that's okay, that's understandable.
And so people were basically saying like I'm dissing God, or like I'm whatever the case is. And I responded, and my responses were good, and a lot of people agreed with my responses. But my response is, for one, like, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God. I believe in miracles. We do Bible study we did it today. Like,
we literally read the Bible every single morning, and
yes.
we go to church every single Sunday. But that, I mean, it doesn't make us a perfect Christian.
Right.
But
like, no one's perfect. No Christian's perfect. Like, that's just the reality of it.
That's true.
But just because I'm saying like this is not God's plan, or like it doesn't mean I'm not supposed to be a mother or God's timing. I'm just showing how it's unfair to say that about one thing but not about everything else. And when it doesn't affect you, it's okay to say that, but then when it affects you,
mm-hmm.
you're like you're angry and you're mad.
Agreed.
Do I believe that God can work a miracle? Absolutely. Do I think... And I also think people forget too that like I'm not really technically infertile. So I think when people say like, oh, it's God's timing, da 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 da, it's like I'm not infertile. Like I have eggs, I have ovaries, therefore I'm capable of having a baby. Like you're not infertile until you're in menopause, really. And and like unless you don't have a uterus or eggs, then you're infertile, which is a whole other thing. But I'm just here to say that it was in no way dissing God, because that's the last thing I would do.
Yeah, no. We try to... It's going to be ironic coming
from
us.
Well, we will segue into someone else, because I want to address something about God and dissing God.
Oh,
on
yes.
YouTube.
Yeah. So, again, like by no means are we perfect Christians.
No.
And but every day
we are trying.
We're trying to live, especially... And I know a lot of people usually have a testimony on why they got into like Christianity and why they started to believe. I mean, I've always been a believer, and I think you have too, yes, for the most part. But ever since we lost Luca too, we've been really, really invested in trying to be better people through God. And I know a lot of people don't care to talk about religion, so I won't stay on this topic too long.
Sucks. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's just like politics, but. Yeah. We are trying every day, and I know it's ironic coming from us, but
everyone has a story. Yeah. Everyone is working on themselves, and that's just it.
But we're trying every day to be better Christians, better people. So,
but like I said, yeah, definitely. That wasn't the intention. I was just trying to say that saying that doesn't help, because it doesn't. Just because I'm not getting pregnant doesn't mean that God's plan was for me not to be a mother. Right. Actually, He put us all here to be fruitful and multiply. So why would I be the only one here not supposed to be a mother?
100%. No, I agree.
So anyways.
But yeah, from the title, do you kind of want to explain what?
Well, they can see the title. I don't have to explain it.
Yes, but for those people who don't know who this person is, this is what I'm
I don't
getting.
want to talk about that person yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing something else.
Oh, you're doing something else. Okay, sorry guys. We didn't have any
This is Couples
notes.
in the Ring, so you're really lucky that I'm just letting that go. You keep cutting me off and stuff, and you're just...
Oh, okay.
He does this in real life, too. Like, I'll be talking, he'll be like, anyways, and I'm like literally talking.
Continue.
We will get into the main part of the podcast in a second, but I also want to address Ethan Klein. So,
oh yes,
I am like, ever since Frenemies was a thing, I watched H3 ever since Frenemies. I actually didn't know who he was at all until Frenemies. I never watched any Ethan Klein video ever. But I do want to say that I am really starting not to like him, and I never understood why there were so many other creators that didn't like him, or so many other people that always thought that he was just very, like, I don't know, people just didn't like him, and I didn't understand why, because I felt like he was just very, like, fun. Like, I felt like he was very lighthearted and funny, and the stuff that he said weren't that serious. But as I started to watch him, especially the past few episodes, I would say, like, the past, like, 6 episodes I've watched, and they've all been recent, so maybe the past, like, 2-3 months, I've noticed that he's getting very, like, well, there's 2 problems, because one, he actually does diss God and Jesus very frequently, and actually in a disgusting way. Like, you don't have to everyone has their own religion, and you don't have to agree with it all. But, like, the fact that he so openly literally bashes and makes fun of Jesus and Christianity and people that are Christians, but he would never dare to do that about any other religion. He would never do that. Yeah, and any other religion.
And it's ironic because there are a lot of things that he'll talk about, and you listen to him a lot more than I do, but, you know, there's things that I've overheard and they'll be talking about. For example, the person we're going to get into today, he'll be debating with somebody like that, somebody on the other side of the argument, and then it becomes like a not okay thing to have those beliefs, and you can't make fun of it or you can't talk about it, but then as soon as he talks about religion, it's okay to diss it and to, you know, make fun of it and stuff.
Right, because there's so many other religions in the world. Like, he would never make fun of, like, Hinduism. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but I don't know. Or, like, Islam. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Muslim.
I'm trying to use the proper
stuff
instead of categorize it. But he would never, ever, ever say anything like that. And frankly, most YouTubers would not, because that would be just like, I just didn't even know if I said it right, and I'm terrified of getting canceled. Like, he would never make fun of any other religion, but then Jesus and Christianity is just hilarious to make fun of. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and that's the only thing. So, like, amongst that, there's just some things about him where, like, don't get me wrong, I think that podcast as a whole is very entertaining.
Oh, yeah,
I think
and it's very well produced.
Yeah, and I think they have great content, and I'm not gonna bash all of that. But there are some things. How did you describe it? You called him like a... He's
basically the YouTuber version of a pick-me girl. Yeah,
that's kind of a good definition, I think. But I'm not gonna bash, like, as a creator, I think that's a very talented group of people.
Oh, 100%. And I will still watch him. Like, yeah, I think he's hilarious. I think he's very smart, whatever. But
I just think he's a little hypocritical, and I think he's trying too hard to appease everybody.
Yes, like, he will, like, he is so, like, I honestly don't know if he actually believes the things that he says, or if he's believing it just to go easy on the internet and go along with majority of people.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny because remember the one podcast we were watching when he was talking to that, I don't know if he called him like a TikTok alpha male or whatever. And there were a lot of points where there were a lot of points he was saying that, you know, maybe you and I would agree with. But what was funny was what I thought, that in that podcast, it was like, I think his name was Sebastian, I want to say.
I was going to say, Sebastian's coming to my head.
I think when Sebastian had a point that he didn't agree with, it was almost like he belittled his point and almost like made fun of him. Right. But then if Ethan had something that he didn't agree with, it was all like, oh, you're stupid for not agreeing with me. Not in those words, but you know what I'm saying.
That was probably one of the first podcasts where I went from, like, oh my gosh, I don't see anything wrong with Ethan, to what, oh, okay, I'm starting to see like something's like a little like off here. And it's just funny because he calls like when other people have opinions, it's like laughable and offensive and whatever, but then when he has an opinion, it's like the only right opinion. And he also talks with Pearl, the person we're about to talk about, sorry. He always was telling her basically like they always were calling her like a pick-me girl, but that's literally what he is on the internet. He's like, he's trying to be different and be the only creator that's like totally on everyone's side, and it's just like too much. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't, it seems like he's all a lot for like feminism and like that side of things, which is okay. Which
is why we're going to react to this, because there's so much we have to say, but so basically who Pearl is. Yeah. Pearl is like, I don't even know, like what does she call herself? I don't know. Like what is
I don't know. A lot of people, I guess, know her as like the people call her like the female Andrew Tate type thing. Yeah, so that should give you enough.
She's not against feminism.
Right.
But she thinks that feminism is used when it benefits them and not all the time.
Right, yeah.
And she does have some very controversial beliefs, and she speaks up on it, and she speaks out about it. Yeah. So that's basically who Pearl is.
It's like, again, I think the best definition is she's almost like an Andrew Tate type of person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, super far out.
I would say
opinions.
Not as crazy as
probably not as controversial. And definitely doesn't have the audience that he does. But at the end of the day, kind of similar point of views. But yeah, she's very similar to him. But she's like, not, though. But kind of not. And
basically just as controversial as him, but that's about it.
But again, there's a lot of things, and we're going to react to some of this. Some of this stuff, we haven't seen any of it, but I think you kind of watch a little bit of what we're going to react to. Mm-hmm. We are going to react to like an H3 episode, because she was just on that show, and as Karlee was watching it, she's like, oh my God, this would be so good to react to because I'm so kind of like on the fence. Yeah. So we're going to get into that right now. And if you want to throw your headphones on there. Sorry.
We're ordering better ones.
Those are my tech support headphones that I had laying around. It was the only one with a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. No, yours should be good. Okay. So we're going to get into this video and we're going to react. So
I guess let's just jump right into it. I want to I don't know how many of my audience, I'm sure a lot do, but I kind of want to just introduce you. You've become really successful the past year or two. You're friends with Fresh and Fit, right? Those guys are your dogs, so to speak. And you kind of are sympathetic to their kind of views. But you've made a name for yourself just on TikTok and on YouTube. So let me just ask you generally, like, what kind of messages are you sharing on your platform? What kind of important messages is it that you find yourself are about?
I believe in family, so I think that we should have policies that push family. I think that feminism overall was a bad thing. I think women are happier when we have, a family and kids over a career in the long run. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. I understand. So it's more like traditional. You want people to kind of follow a more traditional path.
Valid.
In terms of family and.
So yeah, what do you think so far?
Well, for one, we just had a conversation about this at the dinner table. It wasn't about.
Oh yes.
That, but I was kind of. Yes. Literally saying almost the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree with her.
Okay.
What do you? So just off of what you've heard, I agree with her.
So far, I'm obviously not a woman, so I can't speak for. I think women would be happier overall with a family instead of a career choice, but the other stuff. I think
majority of. I don't think all.
I think I need to get into the guts of this and see what's going on with like why she said feminism is a bad thing and all that stuff. Okay. So we're gonna see.
Okay.
Gender and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, and you just see the negative, like outcomes a society has when. Like families fall apart, right? And it's especially hard on the children. Like you see, the kids are more likely to go to prison. They're more likely to drop out of school. They're more likely to be in mental health institutions. So you just see like all of the problems that come with, single mother homes. So I just think it's important that we push policies that push family.
So how do you push a policy that promotes family? Like, in what way can you force a family to stay together or encourage it in a sense?
Well, I think you first have to get rid of incentives that incentivize like women to leave families. So, like, for example, child support, alimony, I'm not really a fan of those.
Child support. So
Okay, let's touch on that a little bit here.
Honestly, I was just talking crap about Ethan. Oh, he has to please the audience, but I get it because I'm so scared to say anything right now.
Yeah, it's tough being in like a position like yours or like his, where you have frankly, a massive audience of people who are kind of picking at you with like a, what is it called, pick and comb.
Mm-hmm.
Fine looking at everything that you say or do. So it's tough. It is tough. And obviously, he is in front of a lot of people, especially live streaming it.
Right.
So yeah, but what are you thinking about that statement?
I mean, so far I haven't heard that statement about how she
I'm referring to like the child, like she doesn't like the child support or the alimony and stuff like that. Like she was basically stating that she doesn't like programs that are designed to take families apart.
Right.
That one's a tough one.
That one I think is, it depends. It's all situational for me.
That's what I mean. I'm like, I don't know, because the problem is when you make a blanket statement like that, and this is why people are so controversial, is like when you make a blanket statement,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard because there's so many. I'm sure there's things that even she will look at and say like, oh, maybe
Right.
not that situation, but this is what I'm talking about.
Right. So I think her main thing, because I did watch the podcast, so like this isn't my first time seeing the clip, but I do think that when she's talking, she is speaking majority. And when I was watching, I was like, I don't like how she wants to change rules just based on majority, because majority really, there's still a minority here. There's still people that are not going to be that majority.
Right.
And I mean, if you take 1% of America, if only 1% of people are experiencing something, that sounds little, but 1% is still like millions of people.
Right. Yes.
So I don't know. I agree so far with what she said, but not the last. I have to keep hearing on what she's.
Okay. Let's grab back into this here. Let me just make sure something real quick before. Okay, it did work. Okay.
Wait, so you're not going to be in that corner?
I'm in that corner. Yeah.
Right, but are you big enough to cover him, or is he going to be?
I'm big enough.
Is there going to be another square?
No, I think I'm big enough.
Because it's going to look real dumb if the border is his border. Like if you were smaller than him in that corner.
No, I'm pretty big here.
And I just don't want to record the whole episode.
That's how big I am on a screen. He's I'm huge.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
If there's a divorce, let's say
actually, I think we should ban divorce too. Yeah, I think that should be banned.
Well, I don't think that's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's just,
pause.
no.
Yeah, no, lost me on that one
Yeah,
for
no.
sure.
I mean, I don't want to be divorced.
No, but I don't think banning
No.
divorce is appropriate.
No.
So, you lost me there, Pearl, but see if you can rope me back in.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a little bit
Ethan
silly.
point
You have
one.
to acknowledge
Yeah.
that, right?
No.
So banning divorce means that when you decide to get married, you are not allowed by the government to leave your significant other in any situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think that if you want to leave, you just shouldn't get married. So that's just my opinion.
Right,
Okay.
but like,
well, again, she's kind of losing me on every point she's
Yes.
making.
But-
And I'm sorry for, I don't want to keep like stopping it and being like interrupting what we're watching, but what do you mean? Like, things change in life, people change,
Right.
people can start acting. What if you're with somebody and they become an alcoholic and they
I
start
was literally just
abusing
gonna
you
say
and
that.
like you need to get out, but it's like you can't say don't get married. Like, you don't know.
Right.
You don't know what the outcome's going to be. So that's Damn, really?
People are making fun of her in the comments because she says all the time.
Yeah.
But I think she just didn't want to be
yeah.
She didn't want to be combative. Sorry.
No, we're gonna see.
In the real world, that kind of simplistic.
And you know, there's like exceptions to this, but I would just say in general, for most cases, you know, we could talk about exceptions, but like the rule.
Okay.
Well, the exceptions are the important part, because I've heard you say that a lot when you're talking about things.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Say, oh, you want to talk about exceptions, but the exceptions is the important part, because those are the people that are going to be affected. I mean, exceptions are going to be a large part of divorces, as you say. I mean, you're talking about 25% maybe or more, because if you're saying you're not allowed to get divorced, so we're talking about what if the relationship is physically abusive?
Yeah, it's basically where we're getting at.
Yeah, I think if it's physically, this is the problem though. All right, if it's one-sided physically abusive, okay, fine, divorce. We can allow divorce for those exceptions, but I've even talked to people that work at abuse centers, and they say that the majority of abuse is mutual. So it's not just one side's hitting the other; it's mutual. So
surely that's not every time.
I think.
I believe.
Yeah, I know.
That.
But it's not healthier either.
Mm-hmm.
You believe? Wait, you believe what?
I believe that it's probably
a 50-50.
Well, I'm not saying equally abusive, but I do think that most of the time the relationship as a whole is abusive. So even though you could be verbally abusing or emotionally abusing someone, and they could be physically abusing you, but you're still emotionally or
you think most of the time that's how an abusive relationship goes, is that it's coming from both sides, whether it's physical, emotional, mental. Okay.
That's not all though. Obviously there are a lot of relationships out there where it's one-sided.
There is a lot of one-sided cases, but I honestly think maybe I can predict a little bit where she's going with this. I'm gonna assume that she's gonna try to say that if it's 50-50 that you just need to work it out and whatever. I'm gonna disagree with this point right off the hop.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think you should have to work out. If it's 50-50, leave.
It's kind of where it seems like she's
right.
going.
I think that the goal should be to.
No, go ahead.
Because that fact, like what she just said, most of the time it's 50-50. That doesn't make that actually gives you an even better reason to leave.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We're gonna see where she's going with this one.
Keep families together, and that the goal should be to work through it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I think most people agree with that, right? Because
sorry, I know we keep interrupting. I'm not gonna even change the camera angle again, but I don't agree that if you're in a whatever kind of abuse it is, I don't think that it's a smart. You can work through things, you can work through problems, and you could try to better yourselves as people and then bring that into your relationship.
Right.
But I don't think it's with what her point is. I don't think this should be banning or making divorce illegal or banning it in those circumstances. I don't
Agreed.
At all, actually.
Agreed.
But definitely in those circumstances. So let's keep going.
I think we all can look at the stats and say family is important, right? Family is important. Nuclear families is important to the health of children growing up in general. I think we can all say that. But when you say something like divorce should be illegal, we got to kind of suss that out, because that's a pretty extreme claim. For example, in 2014, family violence was the cause of 25% of divorces. So I don't think it's fair to characterize that as some kind of super fringe example of why people get divorced.
Well, but you also have to look if there's incentive structures in place where there's a lot of false accusations in family court. And a lot of people don't know this, that family court is actually it's not based off of evidence. It's based off a balance of probabilities. And there are incentive programs that you get, in the UK, you get a free lawyer if you accuse your husband of abuse, and it's less than 10% of cases are actually followed through with the police.
Sorry, I don't want to move on quite yet. I want to stick on the topic of not allowing people to divorce. So you're saying that you do want to allow people to divorce, then you don't really believe that?
No, I would say ban divorce.
Oh, because you just said you would allow an exception in the case of abuse.
I said one-sided abuse exception, sure.
Okay,
so how do you prove the one?
For me, I'm I don't think divorce should be banned, but I do think maybe it should be a little bit harder to be divorced, because I think if it was harder to be divorced, people would be a little bit more picky when it comes to who they married.
That is fair. The only rebuttal I have to like the whole harder to get divorced thing is if they make it harder as a whole, they would have to put in stipulations for like if you can prove abuse, like we would up the process.
Right.
So I think it'd be a little tough. I don't disagree with the fact that it should be a little harder to get. I think it should be a little harder to get maybe married first too. Like I don't think that process should be
like maybe instead of changing the divorce rules, you change like the marriage rules. The problem is with all of these things, like even abortion and marriage and divorce and all these controversial subjects, is that a lot of them is like you don't think about how if you change one thing,
it's a butterfly effect.
Yes, because like if you, I guess like I did say like maybe you should change divorce, but then as I'm thinking about it, even just by saying this, it's like, yeah, but if you change it and it's harder to get divorced, then maybe more people will be afraid to get divorced and they'll stay unhappy. Right. Or if it's harder, then maybe people will start actually lying even more in divorce court because they need a reason.
Right.
So then that
you like false accusations and things.
So then
I get what you're saying. Yeah. So maybe the other side is maybe make it a little bit more challenging to
get married,
obtain like a marriage license and you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know how they would go about that.
I don't know.
And they never will because it's money in their pocket for people to be married and divorce and you know, so it doesn't matter. But that's probably what I would say instead of the divorce one. Yeah. Wow, that's smart. Wow, that's a first. Call me smart. Perfect. This is great. Great episode so far.
So then you don't believe in forced divorce, or I mean, you
ban
divorce.
Fine. Yeah. Ban divorce except for one-sided abuse.
Okay, sure. Except for one-sided abuse. And is there going to be a system to kind of how do you prove that the woman or man
was
on the?
I think you have to press charges in criminal court, not family court.
I think that's valid.
So only if your significant other is tried criminally are you allowed to leave the relationship.
Well.
Tried and found guilty criminally.
I agree that like
yes.
I agree that in order like you should have to go like if you accuse them you have to go to
like improve it.
Yeah, like criminal court.
Right.
But I don't think that should be a reason for divorce.
Right.
But I'm saying like if you're saying that they did it, like I feel like you should have to go to criminal court.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Otherwise, just stick out of, which is fine if you don't, want to be with someone forever. But I just say stay out of marriage, because when you take marriage is supposed to be, for better or for worse and sickness and in health and for richer or for poorer. It's not supposed to be, when I feel like leaving. And the majority of divorces nowadays, it's just, when the girl just feels like leaving.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true.
And well,
it's just not true.
I've talked to hundreds of women.
That's
on
not. That's just that doesn't prove anything.
And even if you look at when no fault divorce was initiated in the 1970, I think it was initiated. I mean, one of the number one reasons was financial differences and irreconcilable. Sorry, I can't talk. But yeah, I just think like, for the people that don't believe in real marriage, because what is marriage if you can get divorced over damn near anything? It's not marriage anymore. It's something else.
Well, I think the reason for that, historically, this emphasis on staying married, right? Or even before this no-fault divorce was an option, and it was more difficult for women to get divorced, or men, the abuse of power and the risk for abuse and for people to get stuck in a horrible relationship situation, not just for them but their kids, right? I mean, obviously having your kids watch their mother get beat up, and oftentimes it's going to bleed,
or the kids get watching their father get beat up. Like it goes both ways.
I acknowledge that it goes both ways. So both people have a right to, in my opinion, get divorced, because the alternative is one of the partners being stuck and like
do you think that's the
lethal
situation. Do you think that's the majority of cases?
A majority of cases of what? Divorce?
Of divorce.
25%. 25%. What? It's 25% based on statistics.
No, but that's not what's in criminal court. It's like less than 10%. It actually followed through in criminal court.
Well, regardless, 10%'s enough, don't you think?
No, I said less than 10% of the abuse cases of the 25%. So that's like.
Journal of Family Violence in 2014 found that approximately 25% of divorces in the United States involve domestic violence.
Right, but again, that's because the woman says that she was, because their incentive.
Okay, But you're just
program.
saying stuff. You're just saying stuff. You don't actually know that to be true.
No, I do.
How?
I do. Like, okay, in the UK, there's a law that you get a free lawyer if
The problem with Ethan and this is, like, I agree that she is just saying stuff, and a lot of the stuff that she's saying is just her feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But also his are just his feelings too. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like
he pulls a stat to like initiate the conversation, but then it also feels like then it trickles over to like a feelings thing.
Right.
Right. Like he'll pull the stat, which is great because I do
Right.
think it's important to source things correctly and not just spit out numbers.
Correct.
Like I think the problem is too, and this is kind of sidetracking, but I think the problem is so far what she has said about like banning divorce and making it whatever harder or illegal. I think it's a lot of people have a lot of ideas without an actual plan. Right. It's like
if you think of the butterfly effect,
yeah,
you start
can't
to
do
realize
it.
you can't.
You couldn't. Like
Right.
even if you made the one exception about a one-sided abuse. Okay, now how do you prove it? You know, is there going to be a ton of false
Just like
accusations?
abortion.
Right. So I mean, that's so tough, and I think this is the problem. Is I feel like a lot of people will come up with an idea without a plan, and it's literally just smoke and mirrors. Like they just want to say it to be controversial, but they don't really know
Right.
how that would work.
Right.
Right. And I'm not saying I do.
No, me neither.
I'm just saying
I don't think it should be banned.
No, me neither. I'm totally not on the side of her right now. So we're gonna continue though.
How does that? Sorry, but how does that prove that women are lying about violence?
Because I'm saying that you can't. Okay, you can't prove it unless they go to criminal court, because criminal court is based off of evidence, where family court is based off of a balance of probability. So it means it's more likely that they did it than didn't do it. It's not innocent until proven guilty.
Right, but they're not going to jail. It's just to let the abused.
I mean, you could
partner.
call it jail when you have a lifetime of not seeing your children. When the
You
whole
could, but
like
it's not.
community. I mean, you could. I mean, have you spoken to these men? It's like literally their whole community thinks they're an abuser. Now they get to see their kids maybe 3 days a month if they're lucky. A lot of them are put on.
Sure,
a lot of them
of course.
are put on.
Yeah,
right.
there's bad outcomes for sure, but
Horrible.
on the whole,
I mean, a lot of men zero themselves out during this.
they what?
Like a lot of men commit suicide
Oh, I
during.
see.
They would.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. You know.
It's horrible. It's like absolutely terrible. Like I interview these men that are going through this.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened, but at the same time, you're saying women are lying about violence, and I haven't seen you be able to prove that.
I'm saying that you can't prove
Well,
it
she
unless
didn't
you go to
say that they're
criminal.
lying about violence. She's never said that.
She did not say that.
Not that I heard. Did you?
No, I didn't.
I didn't hear her say
recall it, but
women are lying about violence. I think she's saying that.
Oh, they could.
That
I think she said they could.
They could because they get incentive or whatever. She
Yes.
didn't say that they are, for one.
She said women will lie about violence because in the UK they're incentivized because they get a free lawyer and blah 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 blah. That's what she said.
Right. Well, I also think it's crazy that we're not in the UK, but
Yeah, this is
maybe she's
we're
from
not
the
in
UK.
Well, clearly, probably not.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she lives there. I don't know. But never mind.
We'll continue.
I guess
Court
I'm
because
scared.
family
Right, but it's
court
not a
is
crime.
based off of evidence.
Right, but they're not going to jail. It's just about the welfare of the kids, and you know, I mean, the people.
I do
It's a
think
crime
family court.
if you're falsely.
I do think family court is in favor of women and are biased towards women.
Yeah, 100%. 100% it is. Like I feel like that's a very well-known thing.
If you walk in as a mother and you walk in as a dad, you're already
Yeah,
below
you're already
the
losing.
mother. You're already losing. You're losing from just being a dad.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
that's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true.
Doesn't mean it's not deserved. Sometimes it's deserved, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
Which, if you're looking at things like, well, you can't ban divorce because some of the women are lying, but hey, there's some that are not.
Right.
Then what about the men of, well, some of them might be doing it and some of them might not.
Yeah. True. Very true.
Anyways.
Accusing someone of abuse. And so I'm saying there's no, you can't, they only prove it in less than 10% of cases.
Okay.
In criminal court, because criminal court is based off of evidence, family court is not.
So let's just say less
that
than 10%.
true?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting.
Then I'll
Because
just give you the benefit of the doubt.
They try to make family court. Well, first of all, family court's like faster to work through because it involves children and stuff usually. And they try to make it as easy as possible because it's a family matter.
Right.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
so they try to make it easy. Like they try to make you go to mediation. They try to make you make your own rules. And like getting orders from the court is like the last resort. Like they don't want you to have to go to that length.
Okay. Makes sense.
On that. Still seems like enough to give people the option to leave. And this idea that women just leave whenever they want seems a little bit infantile because people change, right? Especially when people get married young, which does happen. People change. People go through shit. People grow apart. A lot of the men who end up being abusive, you hear, were one way before they got married and one way after you get married. So I don't think it's fair to say you're just leaving whenever you want, or you should just have to stay in this forever. Wouldn't you prefer people get married than never get married? Like, I feel like you would be disturbed if, like, only 5% of couples ever got married.
I'd rather people got married and stayed married.
Right, but that wasn't one of the options.
I actually don't see a point in getting married with the way that marriage is today, to be honest. Yeah, because again, like, what is it? The average marriage is like 8 years. So the average marriage is 8 years and you're done. That's not marriage.
Leaving a marriage.
Go ahead. I know you have something to say.
I was just going to say that she's almost talking as if people get married looking forward to divorce, which is just not true.
I think...
Like as if they're planning on getting a divorce.
Right. The only thing I'll say is what I agree with is that I do think, again, when you take the vows of marriage, it's for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, sickness and health. I understand all that, which is what she is. I feel like the problem is she has a good point. It's just a bad delivery, and there's some places she loses me. Like, I do agree that marriage should not be something where, like, when things start to go wrong, you're just giving up and you're throwing in the towel. Like, obviously no relationship should be, but when it comes to marriage and you take all of those vows to that person, it's like, I feel like vows are so loosely, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're just so loose nowadays where, like, people aren't actually
I think what she's trying to say is that marriage isn't as valuable as it once was.
Correct, and I agree. I'm sorry, I do.
I 100% agree also.
I agree. I think
people don't take it as serious.
No.
People, like, definitely get married knowing that they're in I think like a lot of people, the problem is that people are getting married knowing they're in an unhealthy, like, they're already in a toxic, unhealtty relationship, and then they still get married. And it's like, that certificate isn't going to change absolutely nothing. If anything, it's going to make it harder.
I think that's what it kind of boils down to, is that a lot of people think, they do it with kids too. Kids are the solution. Marriage is the solution to all of our problems. Oh, once we are married, we're good. We're going to have a great life. But, like, your problems don't cut off when you get married, right?
So is it a solution with the law, or is it a solution with just people?
Right. Well,
like,
that's true. Yeah. Let's continue.
Due to domestic violence and not pursuing criminal charges, let's say that a woman's in a marriage and they have no fault marriage divorce. So let's say she doesn't want to charge her husband. She just wants to leave amicably, okay? But in your situation, she's forced to charge him legally, to have a police investigation, charge him for domestic violence. Wouldn't that be more damaging to his reputation?
Not if he beat the case, because again, it's based off of evidence. But I mean, I think that why would you want an abusive guy walking free? If he's actually abusive, he should go to jail.
So I think the problem is that the reason why also they don't have to be criminally charged is because he just made a good point where it's like, well, if they had to criminally charge that person, their reputation would be destroyed. But also now their kids are actually losing, like, their father. Like, their father's, like, actually gone. But then I also see her point where it's like, if he's abusive to you, he could be abusive towards your kids when you're not around. He could be abusive towards whatever, or vice versa. Like, a woman could be abusive verbally to their women are verbally abusive to their kids all the time.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, I think that's just the problem in general, is that there's I could never be in charge of making laws because this is confusing.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm confused.
Agreed. Let's keep going here.
Shouldn't we agree on that?
Right, but it's just not that simple, again, because, like, it's just not that simple, abuse cases, because, you know, and it's not that simple to convict people.
I just don't think that men should be punished without evidence. And I think in family court, it's not based off of evidence. It's based on a balance of probabilities. And so
but
you have a case where...
Yeah, but that's a whole separate discussion.
I know, but that's the problem, is that she makes that point, and then I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, they are literally, like, without evidence, they're getting their rights taken away from their kids. So it's like, it's a hard, like, who here...
Right, and that's the thing, is, again, where, you know, it's the same thing I said before, is they make someone will make a lot of good points and you'll agree with them, and then they'll lose you. It's like they'll build you up. You're like, oh my god, yeah, boom, done. Like, you say banning divorce, okay, I'm off the train. Like, I don't like what you're saying now, but yeah, we're almost done this too. So
men only, like, they're stuck seeing their kid like 3 days a month, when again, it's not based off of evidence. Like, you know, I've interviewed guys where literally the wife, and I've seen the court documents. It's coming out in my documentary that's coming out in the fall. The wife was plotting to try to get the guy to hit her.
Right, I'm sure that happens, but
and the
that
wife still got custody.
Right,
mm-hmm.
But that's not a representative case. Again, I mean, for example, you ask why a mom wouldn't want to try a parent. It's more nuanced, right? I mean, you need a more developed take on that, because it's very traumatic for the kids and the family to put their father through a violence case, and especially when the kids are probably going to have to ask to testify, to talk to the police. I mean, I totally understand why a mother or father wouldn't want to put their family through that, don't you?
We already.
I can understand it. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. And I mean, according to national statistics on domestic violence, okay, there's 10 million men and women each year that are the victim of physical abuse. But in your world, I have a feeling that a lot of these people would be trapped in these marriages, and that's okay.
I said in one-sided abuse, they could leave. Yes.
Okay.
So, no.
Okay. I
think her whole point is marriage is not as valuable, and that women are favored in court, family court.
She's just, unfortunately, she's just pretty bad at. She is bad at kind of getting her point across. She's trying to be too. I feel like what I'm getting from this is like she's almost trying to be a little bit too controversial. And I'm not disagreeing with a lot of the things that she says. It's the way she ends the thought. It's like, no, you can't ban divorce.
Right.
And then say, like, you know, except the 50, you know, the half side of that relationship that's an abusive one. But if they're both abusive to each other, you're saying, like, you know, just duke it out, work it out. Like, that's not a valuable solution at all for anybody. Right. So yeah, I don't know. This is the problem here, but
I think in order to get custody of your kids, if you're going to accuse the other side of abuse, you should have to prove it.
Do you think what do you think is more harmful to kids, divorce or physical abuse?
Physical abuse.
Okay, you passed that one. But you had to think about it for a second. But anyway, let's move on from this.
No, I just thought it was kind of a silly question. That was all. But
okay, that's refreshing.
What are your? I mean, I guess we've kind of been giving our overall thoughts through the whole thing, and honestly, that wasn't like as crazy as I thought it was gonna get. I know there are other clips, and actually we can watch the other one if you'd like.
Yeah.
I'll pull that one up, but there's another one that I was kind of interested in watching.
I see what she's trying to say. But I think the problem is that if she does go about it the way that you want, like the way we're going about it, it's not going to reach anyone.
That's what I'm saying.
She has to say it that way in order to get people to listen to her.
Like, this is the thing, is like people need to understand, and I know people aren't stupid and they can recognize this because we're not the brightest bulbs in the pack and we can recognize this. But, you know, like Andrew Tate and her, for example, you know, they're saying very, very, like, yeah, the base of the argument that they're making, or the base of the opinion that they're making, is very valid. There's a lot of validity to it. It's not like out of this world. And then they take that and then they just build on it and make it super outrageous to get reactions, which is very smart, obviously.
Right. But I think, though, as much as people might think it's for views and stuff, yeah, it probably is. But I think it's also because there's no other way to get your point across.
Right,
without being like that, because no one will listen to you.
No, because then you're just saying basic shit.
Like, right.
Like we are.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I agree with some of the things she says. I just do.
Well, we're going to watch this next one. And this one, I think we're going to have a lot more to discuss. Okay.
Do you guys think it's appropriate to go out in a relationship?
No.
Yeah. Why not? Is that a bad thing now?
Is
that a thing now?
You conduct yourself when you're out.
Well, what are you going out for?
What?
You got a man.
So before they get into this, you and I have talked about this a bunch.
I agree.
We've talked about it on podcasts. We've talked about this on vlogs. We've talked about this on lives. Like this is the discussion we've brought up a lot. And I feel like a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people disagree with this side of the argument. Is like, why are you going out if you're in a relationship? And again, values in relationships and marriages have gone down. So that's why that's okay. Right. And and this is the thing, is that a lot of people, their argument is, well, if you don't have trust in your relationship, what do you have?
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, I understand.
It's respect and it's value is
and
what it is.
Those are the key things. Those are the key ingredients that they're missing when they say things like, well, if you don't trust your partner, yeah, but do you respect your partner? Do you value your relationship?
I trust Josh with my entire life. I know that even if he went out, he would never touch someone.
Right.
But he respects me enough to not put himself in any situation, whether he was going to act on it or not, he would never. But he just respects me enough not to even go. That's the point. I think people nowadays are like taking respect and stuff as like a personal offense. They're like, well, you're forcing me to stay in and da-da-da-da-da. Let's keep watching, because so far, Pearl, point 1.
Yeah, we're going to see here. Well, she just asked the question, right?
Well, she said, well, what are you going out for?
Right.
So
I can't let my hair down for 5 minutes of my goals.
It's like, why are you fishing if you don't want to fish?
But who said I was fishing? I was having a good time.
Oh, so what'd you go out for, yourself?
To have a good time.
Yeah. Seriously, is that a thing now?
I mean, that's just, I'm just telling you guys how men view it. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I listen to guys talk all the time. Like, if you're going out all the time, it's like,
but not all the time.
You can say like, I'm not a hoe, right? But if all your friends are hoes, you're going out to the club all the time. It's like you're dressing like a hoe, acting like a hoe. It's like, how are they supposed to think you're not a hoe?
Lost for words. Mic drop.
yeah.
Well, so what do you think about you?
Well, she was talking about men, and so what's your thoughts? She said that's how a man will view you then. And she's just saying she's talking about how men think.
Yeah, so let me make sure. So this is, So in my personal opinion, I do agree with but it obviously goes both ways. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't go both ways, because from a woman's perspective, a man could be doing the same thing. But it's that saying, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
It's a fact.
But again, it's like the whole like, if your friends are a bunch of hoes and they go out and you're dressed like a hoe and you're acting like a hoe, well, if you're acting like a hoe, then the relationship is no mo. Because sorry.
And it doesn't mean that you're actually like what people define as a hoe.
That's
it
what I
doesn't
mean.
mean you're actually going out and like sleeping with everyone.
I think it's just the point.
And it's a valid point, because I think it's true. And as much as, okay, so I will say that to an extent, like, we are not going out to look, but as once I was single and going out, and I will say that as much as I did look like a hoe, I did. That was the point. Like, that was the point of going out, is to look hot and to dance. And I never ever went home with people, and I was not looking for a boyfriend, because I know
that's not where you'd want to find
that's not where I'd want to find someone. And that goes the same way for men. But I will say that a lot of the point of going out was to feed my own ego.
Yeah, get attention. Yeah.
And I wasn't fishing for men. I was fishing for attention and fishing for compliments, because there is nothing that boosts a woman's ego more than shutting down a man at a club. I'll tell you that. Or getting a look from a stranger. That feeds your ego, especially when you're single and you don't have, that's just what you want. That's just a fact.
Right.
So, like, yes, you are going out for yourself in a sense because it's for your own ego. And you can go out for your friends and to dance. Like, I went out to strictly dance and have fun.
But there was another side of that.
But also get compliments. I never got drinks. I never went home with people. But I was going out for compliments from other people. And I don't care what you say. If you say, well, no, that's not true. I don't go out looking for compliments. I go out just for drinking and dancing. Then why do you dress up? I think it is true that people dress up to impress people.
Well, then it will be, well, it's for me.
No, it's not. Really? Then go to bed with makeup on and heels. It's not for you.
That's valid.
It's not for you.
That's a fucking valid
It
point.
is not for you. Do I think that people I put makeup on because it makes me feel better. And why does it make me feel better? Because I'm presenting better to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact.
Right. Yeah, valid. Let's keep going.
We'll call it that.
It's same thing with a guy. If he hangs around a bunch of friends that all cheat, if he looks like he's cheating, if he's acting like he's cheating,
you're gonna assume he's cheating.
And you'll fall in love because women love being cheated on.
Well, then if you don't trust your partner, that is a problem.
Yeah, you
Whoa.
got lost on that one.
Not me.
Yeah.
In itself.
Okay, it has nothing to.
It does have a big. Trust is a big thing. A big thing.
So,
how does a relationship work without it?
I mean, but like, why would you put yourself in that situation? Like, I just think if you truly
wait, did she just? Sorry, I was not paying attention. Did she just say about the trust thing?
Yeah.
See, I knew it.
There's a difference between how does a relationship work without trust? That does not. It's respect. How does a relationship work without respect? Is actually.
I want to hear that again.
Why would you being cheated on?
Well, then if you don't trust your partner, that is a problem in itself.
Okay, it has nothing to.
It does have a big. Trust is a big thing. A big thing.
So.
How does a relationship work without it?
I mean, but like, why would you put yourself in that situation?
Yeah,
like, I just think if you truly respect the guy you're with, like, you wouldn't want to do anything that would make him look bad. And it makes a guy, like as a woman, you want to make your man look good. Like, that's your job. And so when you're dressing like a hoe, going out with your hoe friends to the club where they're all hooking up with guys, and then you're saying, oh, they're all doing it, but not me. I promise I won't flirt with anyone, but I'm going to the one place where we're bound to get hit on. It's like, you look bad as a girl, and you make.
Okay, so that from the male perspective, which I will say that is definitely, and it goes both ways. It goes both ways. But I'm saying from my end, if you were to go out, which again, I trust you with my life, but if you were to go out, I would say that would be a bad representation on our relationship.
Correct.
To me. And reason being is I completely agree with this fact, and people can ridicule me all they want. I totally think that going out in a relationship is severely pointless, like very pointless.
Right.
Now, does that mean I don't think you should go hang out with your girls and go get, a bottle of wine and hang out at the house? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But like going out to a club, partying, dressing up, whatever.
Right.
I am in complete agreement.
I also think it's okay if it's for like. If like your significant other's coming with you and it's for like a birthday party or something.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like this.
But if my best friend invited me out to a club for her birthday and she said, I really want you there, it means a lot to me, I'm not going.
No.
I don't care if you're mad at me.
No.
I don't care. Because one, if you respect me, I won't go.
Yeah.
And if you respect me and respect my relationship.
Yeah, don't even put that pressure.
Right. I respect my relationship. That's going to be uncomfortable for me. So for you to even ask something that's going to be uncomfortable for me, I don't want to be your friend anyways. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you should know. You should be aware. Yep, exactly.
Him look bad.
So we're talking about girls that have hoe friends, and when they go out, not just girls in general. We're just talking about the hoes when they go out.
What else are you going to a club for?
I don't think it's valid that she's calling everyone a hoe.
No, that's true.
I've literally never heard. Everybody, I guess, has different points of views. Well, meaning men have different points of views when it comes to women, but that is very new for me, I must say.
I think if it's new for you, then I always ask myself, like, what types of men have you had? Like, what types of boyfriends did you have?
That's why I said I've been single for 10 years, because I don't go out with men,
so
and I don't do that.
So
I mean, if it's her choice, whatever, but we'll continue.
Do you like men?
I like
No.
Are you celibate?
I'm not celibate, but
So you haven't been single for 10 years?
I have been single for 10 years.
Have you had sex in the last 10 years?
I have. That doesn't necessarily mean I was in a relationship.
Okay, but you... See, this is the thing that women do. So what you was... Initially, I was thinking, oh, for 10 years, she's out. I've been out the game. She is, you know... No, you haven't, because you've been having sex. Like, so you've been in the game enough to be able to have sex, but not in the game enough, not enough to secure a man, a proper relationship. So you know how to have sex. This is what I said. Women can have sex any day of the week, and you look to me a little bit funny. You've been able in the last 10 years. You cannot keep a man. Okay, cool. Wait.
I can't keep a man because I haven't been in a relationship for 10 years, and because I've had sex.
Relationships.
Well, yeah.
Well, it just means that the men you want don't want you.
They just want you for sex.
Yeah.
Like, if that's you guys' understanding, then I'll take it.
Oh, no, I want you to explain.
Okay, so put it this way. I have dated men and they have not given me or made me feel like I was safe enough to be in a relationship. Let's just say that for number one. Number two, yes, I have had sex. That doesn't necessarily mean I've had sex with multiple men. Doesn't necessarily mean that the person that I've had sex with, I want to be in a relationship with them. That can still be my choice, and that can still be okay.
Of course.
So when I say it's okay for me to be single for 10 years without a relationship, I think that's very normal. So
you're right. It's normal nowadays. Like nowadays, it's not uncommon, but it's because modern women are side chicks.
I'm not a side chick.
She was a 10 years.
Who said that?
Because
I'm a side.
This is how relationships. I'm not even saying this like to be me. It's just this is how relationships start nowadays. They start like, how many times have you heard of a situationship? So and it seems like you've been in a situationship. I haven't. Then what else would you call sleeping with someone?
Friends with benefits, is that not
situationship?
Yeah, that's a situationship.
Okay,
so if you're in a friends with benefits situation, that's uncommitted. So what else is he doing? You're a side chick.
I'm not a side chick. I feel like a side chick is when somebody's in a relationship with somebody and then they're doing something with somebody on the side.
Okay.
No, side chick is when you're one of many chicks.
Okay.
One of many.
Let me tell you, as a man, this thing of where you women have to believe there has to be a main in order for me to be a side chick. It's not. It's a crazy phenomenon. If you are one of a selection, you're a side chick. That's it. Stop thinking that he has to have a main one who he looks after. You're just one of many.
I'm not.
But do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Well, the whole modern women are side chicks thing, I kind of disagree with that. Again, blanket statement. I get she probably has a point behind it, but she's not making it, so that's where it loses me.
Right.
But I don't disagree with the whole thing. I think that I think people are allowed to be single if they'd like to, and if they want to sleep around, go ahead. I mean, that's on you. I can't look at someone and judge them for doing that. Go nuts. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know they're probably talking about their values and their morals that are kind of coming into play here. And do my morals match up with the girl who's saying, "Oh, I've been single for 10 years. I'm allowed to sleep around"? No, I don't agree with that. But they're definitely more than able and allowed to do that. I'm not gonna sit here and say
oh no, 100%. And I don't agree with her calling everyone a
no, you're not. Everyone's a hoe.
She could say it in a different way.
Yeah,
but I get what she's saying. She's like, yeah,
it's exaggerated point.
You're who you hang around with, which is true. And I do think that women pretend like, oh, it's just for us, but then if their men ever went out with their boys, they're panicking the whole time. They're freaking out. They're texting their friends. I've been on the friend side where my friend's boyfriend has gone out and she's blowing up my phone the whole time. Oh my gosh, can you look at this person's Instagram? Can you see if you could see him in the back? Is he with a girl? Can you go drive past this? I'm gonna go drive past there and see him right now. He's not answering. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Oh, but I understand what you're saying, but I'm not.
Okay. If you were sleeping with a man and he wasn't your boyfriend, he wasn't your husband, and you wasn't, and
he's single.
He's single, and so were you. Yeah. So therefore, you was a side chick.
Doing grown things.
See, what you're trying to do, you're trying to move the goalpost. You keep trying to change it. Now we're doing, yes, it's grown things, but those grown things still amount to you being a side chick and not his main woman.
And that's your opinion, and that's okay.
You know, bro.
And that's okay.
My understanding of the term side chick, and what I've always understood it to be is there's a main and the side, right?
So I think that's why she's like, well, I'm not, because he has no main.
And I kind of agree with that, because in order to be a side, there has to be a main.
Agreed, but I see what he's trying to say, where it's like, well, you're really nothing to him. Like you're. I think he's using side chick as just a girl to sleep with.
Yeah, I think
because he's saying you're not.
Yes, you're not the main, but you're also like I think their point is like if you are one of many girls, you are the side chick. But again, I
think they're saying that they're mixing up the terms.
Yeah, but anyway. Maybe it's different over there. I don't know.
This is the majority of women in this day and age. I'd say this started from.
Can I ask you over there?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's uncommon.
Yeah.
It like that's how. I mean, that's how most relationships start. When I ask people, like it usually starts as a situationship. Most women start as side chicks. In the West, I will say in the West.
And then a lot of the time they put pressure on the guy to get into a relationship.
Facts.
Yeah, but we control. See, in case you don't know, this is.
I don't think a valuable relationship comes from being a side chick or whatever you want to call it.
What they're saying?
Yeah, like I don't
think you start sleeping together just like casually, and then you're like, let's start something.
I don't think that ever works, and I think if it does, it's never healthy.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair point. And again, there's always going to be exceptions to every opinion, but and the only reason I fucking hate that we have to do that because somebody's gonna comment. But again,
who
there's
cares?
always
It's probably someone single.
Yeah, there's always
or someone in a toxic relationship.
Yeah, it's always exceptions, guys.
This is a phrase that people say. Okay. Women control sex, men control access to relationships. So unless you're going to get down on one knee and give me a gold Rolex and ask me to be your husband, then what you have to do is you have to fall in your femininity along for me to ask you to be my girlfriend. Then I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, this girl is better than all the rest of the women. I want to lock her down. I want to go to the jewelers and buy a ring and give it to you. So this is a process that needs to happen. And in order for this to happen, you have to understand that process. But the moment you give a guy sex days, after that, you've given him everything already. So there's no need for him to actually make you into his girl or his wife. The need to make you into his girl or his wife is because you possess something that no other women have. If it's just sex and you give it away and you're not a virgin, you give it to other men, then we don't consider it as something special. And the problem is,
what if I'm not looking for something? What if I'm not looking for something?
That's fine. That's also fine. But I think at some level, yeah, unless you're saying you don't want to be, you don't want to, then at some level you're gonna want something. So a lot of the things you do in the past can affect the guy that you actually meet when he meets you and actually likes you.
So I don't think I totally agree with what he's saying here.
Yeah, it's a little again.
I see what he's trying to say. Yeah, I think that he made a good point where it's like, no, like before I ask you to like be my wife or my girlfriend, like I need you to like show your like feminist side, like where you're like cooking, cleaning. I think that's kind of what he's trying to say.
Oh, that's what he's getting at?
That's what I think that he was trying to say. And he's like, well, so if you just sleep with me, like I've got everything, like there's nothing special about you, right? Because he could sleep with anyone. So I think that what he was trying to say. I don't agree that like you need to like that you sleeping around in your past has anything to do with the person you're going to be with. I mean, some men might want a girl that doesn't sleep around with a lot of people, but some men don't. So that's just not valid.
This all just comes down to like your personal moral
and
values.
You have to remember that like we're saying like going out's wrong, but we do OnlyFans, so.
Right, like tomato, like you got not tomato, but you got to remember, like again, there's going to be two different sides of a coin, and
right, like some people would allow their wife to go out and
never do OnlyFans. Like OnlyFans is definitely more like crazy,
right?
But I've said this example before because I've been asked about it, and I said, I think making content in the comfort of your own home, posting it online, and never having to like you're just out of sight, out of mind. Obviously a lot of people are seeing you in that type of situation, but it's definitely to me a little bit different than being in the physical, around men who are trying to like get at you and hit on you and whatever. Right. And they're like, to me, I don't see these men looking at you online and stuff.
And also,
right.
Not doing it for free.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But, so like take everything we're saying with like a grain of salt, I guess.
Well, just again, it's going to come down to you as a person.
But I do agree with what they're trying to say in this podcast. I am fully on I think Pearl's side right now.
Okay, let's continue.
Guy that you actually meet, when he meets you and actually likes you, and then he's like, okay, cool, you run through all of these guys, it affects us.
Not necessarily. I'm talking to someone right now. He knows everything that I've done in my past, and it's fine.
No, but that's fine. But what we're talking about, men, we like to feel special. And in a world today where women are running up body counts and stuff, none of us want to feel like the woman we've chosen, we wasn't her first choice.
But what if my body count's not high?
No, I'm not.
Are you just speaking?
No, I'm not. We are not. In this
I
moment,
didn't know if you were still talking about
sorry.
I was a bit confused.
In this moment, I'm not directly aiming at you. Okay. I'm just saying, because you said you were something for 10 years, I was just like, we consider it as something like this. I'm not saying that's you. I don't know your body count. I don't want to know your body count. I'm just simply trying to say, just as a man, just listen to it from our point of view. If you never heard it like this before, just listen, just take it on board a little bit. That's all.
Okay, so those are the two videos we wanted to react to. We're already at like an hour runtime, more than an hour. But what are your kind of? I mean, the problem is you can't really give like final closing thoughts because we kind of have been already talking about them throughout the whole thing, right? So,
my thing is, I think Pearl is. I think a lot of what she says is, I don't know. I don't not like her.
I think a lot of the things.
I think she's actually one of the most likable creators because she actually speaks without being scared.
Right, and that's something that, you know.
I actually really like her for that.
Yeah, so it's cool. She has some good opinions, and then obviously I don't necessarily love the way they're presented. But again, with a short amount of time, you got to remember like a short format content, even like a podcast, even if it's an hour long, and you're debating back and forth with someone, like you're going to say something, and they're going to immediately jump on that point, and then you're not even going to get a chance to actually say what you were going to say. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, a lot of the points are good. Just the way they're presented could be, you know.
I think also a lot of people forget that you can disagree with someone and still like them and still and like them as a person and still be friends with them.
Not in this day and age, honey.
The moment that someone says something they don't like, they're like, boom, not watching you anymore. Like, how dare you? That's so messed up.
And that's what you were saying.
You can disagree with one thing I said and still follow me. Like,
and that's the thing about Ethan too, is you're saying like you don't agree with a lot of the stuff he's saying,
right?
But you're still gonna watch him.
I still like him as a person, and I'm still gonna watch him, and I'm still gonna like the podcast, and I'm still gonna do everything. It's like you can have both. They can both be at the same time because I'm sure there's things that your best friend does that have gotten on your nerves, or something that you don't like, or there's family members that have different political views than you. Like, you can still love and care for someone and like someone and watch someone and not agree with everything they say. So overall, I like Pearl.
Right. Okay.
Just as much as I like Ethan.
Good. Okay.
And I don't like them just the same. So.
Right. There you go.
There you go.
Well, I guess we can wrap up. That's pretty much what we had for today's podcast, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I'll let you kind of close this out if you'd like.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to support us in any way, Patreon is the way to do so. Patreon.com/KarleeSteel. You get like more vulnerable videos and things like that, more personal ones. And yeah, that's really it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.